everybody, I'm Coffee Cake and let's get started. So while I grab some food, let's have a quick chat. If you're here, you probably know what a OneChunkMan is, and if not, I've linked my full rules in the description down below. But basically I play one chunk at a time, and to unlock the next I have to complete a bunch of tasks. I'm starting in Barbarian Village because I like a challenge, and yes, I'm wearing the Ultimate Iron Man gear as I didn't think a standard Iron Man was challenging enough. I am playing as a blend between what someone would call a normal Chunkman and an extreme Chunkman. And I'm taking a few exceptions as I am an ultimate. The biggest is that I'm not required to start quests until I can complete them. I'm also following the passive rules. Based on the starting chunk, I have a few challenges to complete. The first is gear upgrades, Addy Med Helm, Iron Mace, Shade Bottom, and Black Robe Top, with the only one of those that's being better than the UIM gear is the Addy Mace. Next goal is 57 Woodcutting to make the Waka Canoe, not that I can take it anywhere. Third goal is to burn an oak at 15 firemaking. Fourth goal is to complete all journal tasks in this region. This chunk has 3 journal tasks. Fifth goal is to process all non-combat runes, and since I can get a law rune, I need 33 magic for telegrab. Sixth goal is to get 30 mining and mine coal. And above all, I need to descend into the depths of the Stronghold of Security and kill the level 154 zombie and the 154 shade. Some of these are easy, and some will require a lot of planning. So now that I've got an inventory full of meat, I'm going to grab a bronze pickaxe and start my combat training. Fortunately for me, I can use the Stronghold of Security to train it on rats and goblins. So let's talk about that Stronghold of Security and what that actually gives us. First off, it gives us a 10k cash stack so I can buy my Addy Med Helm once I get 30 defense. It also gives us the best in slot and the only boots in the chunk. And it gives us the Soul Scepter, which is the best in slot magic staff in this chunk, and a teleport back to Barbarian Village. So while training my combat skills, I actually found a beginner clue scroll that I can do. There's only one beginner step in total that I can do in this chunk. And let's see if we can get that 10% one-step casket. There are a lot of great items for beginner clue scrolls, and ultimately I think I'm going to need to juggle them to complete one, but after climbing to the top of this building, I can actually turn it in. Let's hope for the one-step completion. So beginner clue scrolls are basically going to control how this chunk goes. Beginner clue scrolls drop a ton of items that'll ultimately allow this chunk to go smoothly or not. Killing the 154 zombie with melee is going to be a challenge with only an iron mace. There are 3 different mobs that have a relatively high drop rate here that are easily farmable. The first is high level barbarians with a 1 in 55. Next we have the goblins in this area with a 1 in 64. And lastly, in the Stronghold of Security, we have minotaurs with a 1 in 60. Because of the other drops they have, I actually plan on grinding on all 3 of these, as they'll contribute to allowing the other grinds to progress on the account. I said that there were a lot of good drops from beginner caskets, but let's just look. The best items we can get would actually be any of the black weapons. We're actually going for the bows. A short or a long bow would be preferred, but oak would be okay. I just have to lamp to 5 ranging. And the last big ticket item that I really need is an air staff. Unfortunately, there aren't any actual sources of air runes in this chunk. So to train magic, I'd need to do to get dust rune drops. Ultimately, I'd take any of the steel weapons too if I can get them early enough in the grind, as they'd be an upgrade from the iron mace. And almost missed it, but there's my iron mace and base 30 melees. That's pretty nice. Ran through Stronghold of Security. Now I'm going to get an Addy Med Helm. So because I want to be able to range with this gear and not have to carry 2 complete sets around, I'm going to go and opt for the medium helm instead of the full helm due to the lack of lack of options to have a good range setup and still maintain some sort of defense. I'm going to count it as best in slot still because it is the Addy tier. Maybe a tweak because of the UIM rules. Now, let's address this little annoyance. Imps. They do occasionally wander north of the Barbarian Hall in this chunk. The biggest issue is they don't actually spawn here. If they did, we'd have access to a whole slew of other items that we could use, but unfortunately, they have to wander in, and I'm finding that I can get approximately 3 to 5 kills an hour if I'm lucky from them wandering in. Once we get an imp spawn, they'll be monumental. I mean, with the bucket of water, the jug of water, and the flour, I mean, we can actually train cooking. The only item right now that we really need, though, is the tinderbox. That unlocks a large portion and actually gatekeeps us on a chunk task. And honestly, it didn't take that many attempts. I actually did get it under drop rate even. I don't remember the exact number, but I got it under drop rate. And that means we can actually begin woodcutting and firemaking. With that, we have 15 woodcutting and we can actually burn an oak log. Now in between episodes, I plan on grinding up to 57 woodcutting and burning all those logs. We should get approximately 61 firemaking, which will be great and basically alleviate future grinding until we get to magic trees, which is going to be a ways off from now. So while I burn this inventory logs, let's talk about the plan for content. I plan to do this between a mix of streaming and videos. Most of the grinds I plan on doing over streams. And if you're watching this when it came out, I'll be streaming about 2 hours after the release. So stop on by and say hello. So until next time, this has been Coffee Cake, and I always appreciate you hanging out with me. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Goodbye. Now, before we sign off, actually, let's update the goal tracker and see we actually made a good amount of progress for episode 1. Oh, and one other thing. There's a great group of folks in the Chunk Discord and in the clan chat. If you've ever thought of playing one before, stop in and say hello. Come pick our brains. There's a lot of good information.